Welcome to episode 201 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We are recording April 16th of 2023. My name is Jeff. I'm the host of the show for this evening. I'm based in Central Ontario. I'm a target shooter, ham radio operator, general overall handyman, and weather guru.
And I'm Brad. I'm in Eastern Ontario, part-time prepper, constantly trying to better myself.
And hopefully we will have Frugal Gunny on shortly. He's just on his way home, so we'll see if he can get himself in there.
We await with bated breath. If you want to help support the show, keep the Canadian Prepper Podcast on the air, you can buy some swag. We have both the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt that I'm wearing tonight and a tactical Velcro patch at www.prepperpodcast.ca. All proceeds help keep the lights on and the backup generator fueled.
And if you're enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and like us on Facebook and submit a review on iTunes. We also want your feedback, good or bad, or just if there's a topic you want us to cover, you can email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. So we have some warmer content for you in this episode. We're going to start off with some recent news, update our personal preps, and then we'll get into the main topic, which is spring cleanup, spring preparation, spring whatever you want to call it.
Spring out the door and enjoy the warm weather.
Absolutely.
Something like that. So the world's not completely on fire yet. That's all I know about the world today in news.
Okay. I've just got a couple quick ones. So I'm sure, well, not sure if anybody in here. So I believe it was 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago or so on the Wednesday, we had a pretty good ice storm hit Eastern Ontario and Quebec. I've got an article there from Global News about at the height of the storm, Quebec, the province of Quebec had 1.1 million people without hydro. And some of those people were without hydro for several days. The second article I've got related to that is, and this ceases to amaze me, but it happened, just within the, I guess, municipality, city, whatever they call it, of Montreal, they had 180 cases of people show up at the hospital with carbon monoxide poisoning. One person, unfortunately, passed away. It was an elderly, more older gentleman, had his generator in his garage, had the door closed. He did have a window open. His wife said it was a smaller window. He had the window open anyways. I guess they had the door closed into the house, so she survived. He said he was going out to the garage to gas up the generator for the night. She went to bed, woke up, he wasn't there. She went and found him in the garage. And the carbon monoxide level in the garage was 20 times the lethal level for carbon monoxide. So they basically said she probably should have not survived either, but gladly she did. But again, and I mean, if you read a bit of the article, it'll be in the show notes. You know, they're talking about people pulling barbecues into their house and cooking their food on a barbecue, and you know, powering up their gas stoves and that kind of stuff with no ventilation, and just
common sense. Common sense is definitely not that common these days, unfortunately. I had heard recently you had said that there was about 1 million people without power. As of Thursday, I had heard my father tell me and my brother and sister on a Zoom call, there were people outside of Montreal, like North Montreal, northwestern Montreal, still out of power. And they didn't plan on putting it back on for another week.
Wow. Well, it all depends on the amount of damage, right? I mean, if you're talking about having to replace, 10 kilometers of hydro poles, well, yeah, good luck.
the poles, the transformers, the wires. You got to pay for the crews to get up there. You got to lodge
Yep.
them, feed them, all of their fuel,
Even
all of
and
that
even
stuff.
if they have transformers, I mean that's not something they keep a lot of in stock, and they're hard to
No,
come by. So I mean we've had discussions about that in on past episodes
calls.
where
Yep.
when we talked about EMPs and all that kinds of stuff that yeah, okay, you can put the wires back up, but if you're going to wait 18 months to get a replacement transformer, then it's not going to do you any good. But yeah,
So
I'm not shocked.
the last little ice storm that we had, the company that I work for, we have a contract with one of the local power distributors in the area that we do a lot of work for them, moving supplies around from place to place. And I had the privilege of having 14 medium-sized transformers on my truck during that little last bout of bad weather. And they had quite a few transformers in their warehouses, but yes, Darius, the lead time can be over a year.
Yep.
That I asked them, like, do you guys always carry this amount of stock? And he said, no. They knew the weather was coming and had purchased a few extra. All of their stock was on my truck. 14
Yep.
transformers for a huge area. All the transformers they had were on my truck. Wow, I could not believe there was probably 200 transformers down. All they had was on my truck.
So again,
Not a
that's
lot.
that unfortunately becomes making a decision about who gets it and who doesn't. In terms of if you can put one transformer up and it powers 100 people, you put another transformer up and it powers only 5 people.
Yeah.
Sorry, 5 people.
Yep.
That's where it's going to go, and that's unfortunate. But
send a city worker or a county worker or whatnot to those 5 and tell them to go see the 100 down the road.
yeah.
go bunk with them for a couple of days until we can get yours. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks.
So let's move on to what we have done lately for preps.
Work. A little bit of fuel rotation in the last little while. Partially because of that power outage that we had. I got to rotate some of the fuel stocks that I had and replenish some. I'm actually building some battery-powered lights with scavenged parts from a work-related job that we had. And I've actually consulted with Eric on printing me some adapters for my Ryobi batteries to power these lights. Just waiting on him to send me a finished product to see if it's going to work. I changed the batteries in my CO and smoke detectors. Found out that I finally got my gun license.
That only took, what, a year? A little more? A little less?
April 4th was a year. I found out on Wednesday that I had it.
Wow.
And that was after, on the 4th, on the anniversary date, I called the number, I forget the firearms number, the 1-800 something, and talked to a very nice lady, ran through all of her questions, put me on hold. She told me that she's going to fire an email up the chain to find out what's going on because it has been a year. She said it's not unusual right now with all the OICs and the bans and all the rest of the political crap that's going on. Said to me, if I don't hear from anybody within a month, to give her a call back. Said, okay. I left it for, a week? I logged into the RCMP, the individual web services, went through all of their login rigmarole stuff, and scroll all the way to the bottom and says, you have been approved. It is on the way. It'll be there in 2 weeks. That was a happy
Awesome.
day. I was very happy for that.
So does this mean then that you're going to be the new CGN king?
I hope not. My wife will kill me. Hell no. But yes, CGN, here I come, because now I can actually do something on it with a valid PAL. So very happy for that. Looking forward to perusing their sites and seeing what I can figure out and buy and scrounge and trade and barter and all the rest of that stuff. And this weekend I did a lot of yard cleanup from that, not the last ice storm, but the previous one before that. I had a tree come down in my yard, and been waiting for the snow to melt to go and clean up a lot of it. And I had some help from our other panelist, Pierre. His wife came over. Pierre was out of town. His wife had some free time, so she came over and we did a whole bunch of cleanup in the yard. So thank you very much, Mel. Definitely appreciate the help.
About time she got off her butt and did some work, though.
You realize she's going to send you a very nasty message now, right?
That's okay. I've been called a lot worse.
Oh.
So I just did a whole bunch of yard work, both at my place, and I was down at my mom's for a few days over the long weekend. And of course, she had the honeydew list for me. So, you know, I did a bunch of cleanup stuff down there, and got her heat pump already, got the cover off it, and I got all that done and a bunch of other things, and did some fuel rotation, and that was about it for me.
Nice.
So we will move into the main topic. Again, it's summer or spring preparedness, getting ready, whatever you want to call it. So let's take it from there, Brad.
I think it's a perfect time this time of year to test out all your stuff. Start your lawnmower, start your weed eater, your rotor tiller, lawn tractor, test your generator. If you haven't in the last little while in this area, because everybody did, get it out, run it for an hour, make sure everything's working, fuel it back up and put it away. When you're starting and checking all your summer gear, you should be able to be putting away all your winter gear at the same time or shortly thereafter. Sharpen all your pruning loppers and shears, like I did today and yesterday. Start a burn barrel if you're allowed. I know in this area, even if there's a burn ban on, I can still use a burn barrel as long as the flames aren't, I think it's a foot over the top of the barrel. And if I have a guard on it, if I have like a mesh cover or whatnot on it, I can keep burning slowly but surely and get through a bunch of waste and tree stuff and whatnot. And plus, it smells great to be outside and have a nice little bonfire, whatnot, after the winter. I'm lucky enough to have a camper here, so I opened it up, aired it out, made sure everything was good. My little one here had a couple of friends over this weekend, and they enjoyed the camper, so they tested a bunch of things out for me to make sure everything was working. So I was happy for that one. And there's the man.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah, you. How you doing?
I just waltzed in. How's everybody doing?
So I have to thank my little one there for testing out my camper for me this weekend. I didn't have to. I could concentrate on some other things. I have a drainage ditch out the front of my property that every year it's always bad. It's always filling up with water. So I had a good opportunity to take the landscape rake, the hard rake, and went out and cleaned out a bunch of stuff out of the ditch to make sure it drains a little better. It's not going to flood on me into the house. Perfect time right now with the nice weather to change your tires from the winter to all seasons.
I'm gonna say no on that one.
Yes,
I think I hate to say it. I hate to be the bad guy. I just think it's a little bit too early. Yes, we've had days in the 30s, but we're close to the 30s, but we're only in mid-April. I think there's more surprises to come, unfortunately.
From what we talked about earlier before the show, I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I made this list up I don't know.
If you want to take your chances, by all means, fill your boots, but don't yell at me when you have to get out of the ditch.
Absolutely. If you're a good driver and you want to take the chance, go for it. I just had it on my list. I'm just running down my list here. But yes, you are absolutely right that it might be too early for that. But hey, to each his own, right?
Exactly. Yep.
In my house here, we started our garden stuff last week at one point, and we move it into the sun in the window during the day, and then move it away a little bit for the night and bring it. I have a mud room attached to my house, and it's got its own separate door, so we move it in and out when we can, when we need to, when it's getting really cold out there. And then turn the Wi-Fi off. Do your spring cleanup. Turn the Wi-Fi off. Kick the kids outside. Get everybody outside doing something. You've been waiting patiently all winter for the snow to melt. Get out and enjoy it. Unfortunately, winter is not that far away, and it comes way too fast. We all think there's enough time. And I know, Claude, I can see you there definitely agreeing with me that you especially you going up to that cabin and whatnot for the summer and whatnot, that, yeah, it comes way too fast, doesn't it? That you always think you have enough time, and then, oh, nope, snow's coming down.
Yep.
Mid-November, you're screwed.
Yeah, and everything takes longer than you think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
finding that I've only had my house for 4 years. And I'm definitely learning that as a hard lesson, that if you think it's going to take 2 hours, plan for 4, plan for 5. You never know what's going to pop up. And if you need some extra help, ask for it. People are around. They'll come and help you. Just reciprocate later on when they ask you. So, hey.
Very good. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a few things to add to the list. Clean out your gutters.
Oh.
Chances are over the winter, probably something's got in there. It's not just a fall thing. The snow's going to melt. It's going to rain. The water's got to go somewhere. You want to make sure that it doesn't overflow and pool around the edge of your foundation. You want to make sure you get the water away from the edge of your foundation. Swap out your winter vehicle kit. You should have one.
Yep.
If you don't, well, that's your problem. But swap out your winter vehicle kit for your summer one. And then just the whole bunch of yard work we've talked about. Clean up any debris that's fallen, sticks, branches, whatever. As Brad said, store away your winter gear, so your snow blower, that kind of stuff. Again, test your generator. I'm by no means a guru with small engines. I'm okay with them. But I always change my oil when the season's over. I don't wait until the season's going to start, because I don't want that old oil sitting in that engine for the summer. So my suggestion would be, if you're putting away your snowblower, change the oil now. Don't do it in the spring or whatever. So, and the last thing I was going to say was, as much as you can, do a spring cleaning of the house. Your mental health will thank you. It's been a long winter of being cramped up in your house. You don't really notice or think about what you've accumulated until all of a sudden you go to start cleaning, and then it's like, holy, where did I get this all from? And things start to it starts to warm up, and yeah, you just you need to air it out and get rid of that stuff out of your house.
And the smaller your space, the more pronounced the need, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Yes. To Jeff's point, it's a mental health thing. In the winter time, it's natural to put things aside and wait for the right time to do it. It's a time and a season for everything, right? And so while everybody here is beginning to do their transition to their summer gear, it's too early for me to do that yet, because in my case, there's still snow up in the land. So when I get back up there in a couple of weeks, odds are they might still be snow still. So I can't throw away that sled and the snowshoes that I keep in the back of the truck. Because right now up at my property, and I suspect it's the same for most people who are in the same zone, we're kind of in that things are starting to thaw, and then they're refreezing at night a little bit, and then they're thawing a little bit more every day, and then refreezing at night, thawing a little bit more. And so during the daytime, walk around in the snow is horrific, because if you're off trail, it's up to your crotch in snow. If you're on trail, it's slippery and slidey because your trail is starting to melt away. So this is that time of the year where I don't mind being away from the property for a little while the melt finishes, and then I can get up there. So I'm hoping by the time I get back up, the big melt will have happened and I can begin my summer routine. And it's similar to everything you guys just mentioned. The small motors all need to get refreshed and then put away for the summertime. So in my case, I had a snowmobile that didn't decide to work for me last winter. And the last thing you want to do is work on that at minus 20 or minus 30. So now what I want to do is fix it before I put it away for the summertime, right? So yeah, like you said, Brad, I've got that list of to-dos that didn't go away last fall, and I'm just going to pick right back up where that left off. But yeah, for me, the routine involves also preparing my gutters. So I've got my gutters up, but I need to put my rain barrels back up, because your rain barrels, you don't want to leave those out in the wintertime, right?
Nope.
No, it's just a recipe to ask to buy more rain barrels the next year. So I don't know about you all, but I don't have that much money that I like throwing it away. It's why I'm the frugal gunny,
No.
not the wealthy gunny.
I'm lucky enough that I have one of those ICB totes, the big tote inside the cage,
Oh,
1,000 liters, 250 gallons, whatever it is.
those are
I
good.
got a steal of a deal on it, basically goose eggs, and I put it up. I put it up on dunnage on some good 4x4 pieces that I use on my flatbed. So I've got it, I think 4 high, so about
Okay.
16 inches off the ground. And Mel this weekend, she helped me reroute the gutters, reroute the downspouts and whatnot. So it's all set up and ready to go to catch water to be able to do the garden with, or should we have another power outage and I can't use the pump, to be able to go outside and pull that water out, and I can run it through my Berkey and then put it into whatever I want. So
Very
yeah,
nice.
that's something I definitely I love about that, having that, and I have I actually have, when I put the gutters on this year, I had a neighbor of mine who does gutters. He came over and did them for me, and he put on the gutter helmet.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So all of that debris, everything washes right away. You might get some little sticks and little seeds and whatnot in the bottom of the barrel, but yeah, I don't have to worry too much about that. I need to put a small screen on the top of my tote, and then I'd be pretty good to get no debris or anything in the bottom of that barrel, in the bottom of that ICB tote. That'd be perfect. I bought from Eric. I bought from Eric the Berkey. It's actually right behind me if you look. Right
Oh yeah,
there.
it is.
Just a small one, but I bought that from Eric, and I bought 4 extra filters. So I know I can, if I have to use rainwater in it, I can change the filters out to brand new ones, purge them, use them in that, go back to regular water and clean out the Berkey, run it through the dishwasher if I wanted to,
Nice.
put the old filters back into it on the tap water that's a little hard, have a water softener, but still doesn't take it all out, and still be able to run without an issue. So I'm liking that. Yeah. Definitely.
That's a big,
And the gutter helmet, Claude, isn't that much.
It isn't, eh?
It's not a huge, it might seem a bit expensive, but it's well worth it, especially if you're going to catch the water and try to drink it, not just use it for watering the garden. It's well worth the money for it.
What kind of price per footage, roughly?
I'm going to say about $350 to $450 a foot.
That's reasonable for a one-time
The
thing.
really
That's
nice
not that
thing.
bad.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. The really, really nice thing is if you get the gutter helmet installed with new gutters, you, Jeff, myself, Eric, Pierre, we can all go and hang on a 20-foot section of that gutter. It's not coming off the wall.
Oh,
Mm.
It strengthens it that much.
really?
Depending on the brand that you get, it's massively structurally sound.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have to call my my lumber supplier where I got the gutters from and see if he can get me the gutter helmet that matches. Because
So if you
if it,
bought pre-made gutters, he might be
yeah.
able to do it. If you got ones that are run like on site seamless
Hmm.
ones, you may have to get the guys to come back, take the gutters off, put these on, put the gutters back on. No, sorry, wrong way. No, you put the seamless on, you put this on top. No, you should be able to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna see. Thank you for that.
Yep.
I don't have a lot of large, tall trees in my area that'll blow stuff directly into the gutters, but anytime I can remove all that garbage out of there from getting into the barrel in the first place, it opens
One
up the
less step.
opportunity to use it for drinking water down the road.
Yep.
And I'm sure a lot of you have also heard about how much junk there is in our air and in the rainwater that we collect now. So like you, if I had to drink that rainwater, I would definitely run it through a charcoal filter first.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be so worried about parasites and all that, although they are definitely possible in rainwater, but especially in a barrel if you haven't put any bleach down. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I was to drink that, I definitely would want to run that through a filter. I've got a little Katadyn that I use that my girlfriend
go.
bought me for Christmas. Great little unit. So I know if I have to filter on some volume there, I can run with that. But yeah, it's that time now where we have to do the transition out. So the gutters are a big consideration for me. The other one is working with the mud and the snow.
Oh god.
Yeah, so when your land has a high water table, you get to know very quickly which are the areas that are going to flood the first. So this year, I'm hoping to do a little bit of preventative work on those roads, so every subsequent flooding is a little bit less damaging to the rest of the infrastructure we do have left. Yeah, so big part of the routine.
Yeah.
Have you been up to the off-grid cabin lately? Like, did it survive the winter okay, or?
When I went back up last, it would have been about 2 weeks ago, and everything is still standing, still holding up well. The snow is already dropping in its levels, so that made me very happy. And it's at the point now where I can see the garbage that got scattered before the big snow hit. Because when you have garbage bags and you don't have garbage cans made of steel, just for those of you who haven't lived outdoors very much, that's just inviting all the critters to come along and destroy your bags the moment you walk away, right? So part of my spring cleaning is going to be to go up there and see what I've missed that's hiding under the snow, pick all that up and start from there.
Surprise, surprise,
Surprise,
surprise.
surprise.
Well, you know what is that's okay. What's not okay is you've had a storm and there's a tree and it's sitting in the middle of your roof. That's the not good thing. So
Yeah, and to that point, Jeff, I definitely paid a lot of attention to that. It was my chief concern actually with the cabin, is that there were quite a few trees that were within very good distance or very close distance to large trees. And until you've seen, somebody's 16 by 16 cabin get crushed by a tree, it might not dawn on you that this is a real thing that does occur. But I saw it happen. The fellow who got me into hunting and fishing and trapping, his cabin got taken down by a tree, and it was just an old pine tree, but it took a really bad storm, and sure enough, the cabin's a write-off now. So that got engraved here in this poor brain of mine, because it was a bit traumatizing for the family to see the cabin. Oh, no more.
Nobody in it?
Nobody in it, thankfully.
Okay.
But if you're out there in a situation and you're thinking, oh, I can at least go into that cabin to get some shelter, not anymore. So the first thing I did when I got up there and that cabin was mine is I downloaded, and I hope everybody is listening, those of you who are buying land or living off the grid, I downloaded the BC Fire Safety Guide. The BC Fire Safety Guide has more than enough guidance for any homeowner to re-examine their surroundings and their perimeter to see, do I have any major fire hazards here? So they're going to cover things like, do you have lots of nice bushes around your house? And now springtime is that best of time to start looking at that. If you're going to trim trees, now is the time to do it, or just before the winter, right? So I paid close attention to that last year, and it paid off during the last storms. So yes, I had all kinds of broken branches and stuff on the ground, but nothing on the cabin itself, because I went about 15 yards out. Any trees that were still standing, they're gone. The added benefit for you is if you happen to be off the grid and running solar panels too, well, you just also give yourself a better solar coverage of those panels. So,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
yeah, the one thing I will say to any homeowner, if you get that PDF file, it'll go through some really specific distances you want to consider in your fire safety zoning. So your tall brushes, things that are 5-6 feet high and close to the house, that's what carries the fire to your house during dry periods. So if you can eliminate those and any trees and brush that are close to the house, you reduce your chances of an accident. And the other side benefit is that you're improving your sight lines for those of you who might be living in a hunting zone. Or for those of you who are security minded. By eliminating the brush around your house, you also improve your sight lines to the edges of your property, and I think that's always a good thing. So yeah, the BC
Would
Fire.
it be? I'm just looking it up here. Fugo for the people. Would it be? I'm under the British Columbia Fire Management. It says Wildfire Preparedness Guide. It's a PDF. Is that it?
That is the one. That is the one, the Wildfire Preparedness Guide. And if you look in there, you'll see that there's actually a little chart. And for those of you who are highly visual, it'll show you those distances and give you an idea of what you can keep within that perimeter that's relatively safe.
Nice.
Yeah, and definitely you would want to adapt all that to your particular area. Some trees will catch fire more readily than others. So if you've got lots of birch stands in your area, you might want to consider the effect of leaving those close to your house line, your house. Spruce trees, they will catch in like nothing flat, and they will go up and burn. So that was my biggest concern. Get rid of those that are close to my standing structures. That eliminates your risk of falling trees, but it also reduces your forest fire damage incidents that can happen. So there you go, a little something that's always good in springtime, because it's hard to get out there in the snow and do landscaping and landscaping, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was telling Brad before the show. So I had a couple of suspect trees in the fall. It had split. One was leaning this way and one was leaning that way. And I thought I was going to be okay. And I'm okay. I mean, nothing hit the house, but they did come down in the one big windstorm. I knew the one come down because my bedroom's at the back corner of the house, and that's right where the tree come down. And I heard it and I felt it. It was a lot closer than I thought. I thought I had more distance and I didn't. So you're right. Pay attention to your distances. And then once the snow melted and I got out the back, I realized the one that was leaning the other way that I would have thought would have fallen backwards actually fell sideways. So I've got one going sideways across the back end of the backyard, and then the other one runs down the side of the house. So it kind of, I think I got lucky. So
I was gonna say you dodged a tree there, Jeff.
Yeah,
I think so, bud.
Lots of firewood though.
Oh yeah, free firewood is always good.
But yeah, it's so that has made me be a little bit more conscious of, and my house is surrounded by trees, so that's a bit of an issue for me. I did notice again in the fall, and I've got a tree guy who's going to come in a couple of weeks and look at it. I've got an ash tree that is on its way out, so I'm going to have to get it taken down before it comes down on its own. I've already had that happen once. I got probably 15 years ago. I had a birch tree in my backyard. Late late fall, heavy snowfall, but the really wet, heavy snow. And then we got the heavy wind and it brought it down. And there's about a 4.5 foot gap between my garage and my house. And the tree was behind the garage and it fell and it just kind of hit the garage and it just kind of rolled and then plopped down between the two of them and laid over the top of the house. All it did was rip my eave trough off.
Wow.
Nice.
So
Did you go buy a lottery ticket, sir?
I did, and I didn't win a damn thing.
I never do either. Wow, bud.
Yeah, just, and I know a lot of people sometimes don't like the rules around burning things and being careful what you burn. But back many years ago, we lived on a farm and our neighbor lost his barn because he was just burning what was left from the winter and the leftover dead leaves and all that. And it got out of control on him and it burned his barn down.
Oh,
So, if you're going to burn something, I'm not saying don't do it. Just be very careful about it.
You got a great point there, Jeff. All the more so if you're off the grid. A lot of these things we call emergency services, people take for granted, and they're only there for you if they can get to you in time, right? The more isolated you are, the more the onus is on you to do all of that planning. So if you're going to do a burn of, say, I don't know, leftover wood from a structure you took down the year previous, and that's fine. You have to consider the fact that if you were to try to drive this out somewhere, you're going to spend more in fuel than the dead material is worth. So yeah, what's greener, burning it in place or driving it somewhere to have it burn and decay there anyway, right? So, okay, now we decided we're going to burn here. Have you dug a trench around your burn pit so that the burning grasses can't carry it out? Have you looked at your winds? A lot of people don't pay attention to wind. And if you fire up a nice, beautiful bonfire with a high wind, well, I think everybody knows
Now
that
your
can get away
neighbors
from
have a
you.
bonfire too.
And those embers can go a lot farther than you think they can, and they stay hot. They don't go out.
They do. And when you're talking forest that hasn't burned in years, decades, you've potentially got, a total tinderbox on your hand there. So yeah, if you're off the grid, if you're isolated, if you're not anywhere near a fire service of some kind, folks, just plan your stuff out. If you don't know, just ask a firefighter, someone who does. Right? I'm no firefighter, but I know I need to dig a pit around something that I'm going to burn, and I have to consider the wind. I have to consider everything. I better have some way to, kill that fire on hand. Either a big bucket of sand, big bucket of water. There's all kinds of ways, right? Fire extinguisher. Yeah, what a thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many people don't have a fire extinguisher in their off-grid cabins? Lots. It's the first thing I brought in there before I even had the wood stove. I had the stupid little fire extinguisher because if I'm using a little burner in my cabin and I have a little boo-boo, I have about 20 seconds to turn out that fire before I'm gone. Yep. It's made of spruce, right? So yeah, fire safety is something we don't pay enough attention to. Even in modern homes connected to the grid. So yeah, maybe part of that spring cleaning you were talking about, Jeff, should include, let's go through our homes, and anytime you see an extension cord and a power bar together somewhere, you need to fix that. You need to fix that. And I say this because a lot of people just buy another extension cord, and next thing you know, you've got extension cord into extension cord into extension cord. And that's how we create fire hazards in the home, right? And I say this, but it's not as common as it should be to know
common
this.
Common sense ain't too common anymore.
Yep, I was in my old job, I was on the health and safety committee for the building, and it's a substantially large building with about 800 occupants. And you wouldn't believe the amount of times that, you're right, you would see an extension cord plugged into a power bar, and then another power bar plugged into that power bar with another extension cord running off of that second power bar. And it's like, you can't do that. Well, why not? I got to get, no. Like, you know, well, would that be why we have
Wow.
to call we called them facilities management to come and open the panel so we could reset the breaker every once in a while? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a wonder we haven't killed ourselves yet, isn't it?
But no, you've got a great, and you made great points there, Gunny, about like having the fire pit. So if you're doing all that cleaning and you're cleaning up stuff and you've decided, hey, I'm going to burn it, well, rake everything to the fire pit, rake it in so that if it starts to burn, there's nothing left there. There's no more accelerants or very little left to burn. You can put it out, like you say, with your bucket of water or your bucket of sand. But if you've got the fire and then you rake and, 20 feet away, you've got another big pile, and 20 feet away from that, you've got another big pile. You're right. That one of those starts on fire, you've got a problem.
Uh-huh. Domino effect.
Yeah. And even if you're close to the grid, how long does it take for the firefighters to get to your location? Is it 10 minutes? 5 minutes? 20?
Yeah.
15? How fast does wood burn? Right?
Fast.
It burns
When
really
it's dry,
fast.
when it's dry and it's been manufactured, it burns fast.
Yeah. If you're talking about seasoned wood, and great one from Melissa there, cleaning your outside vent for your dryer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I even did that this weekend. I didn't put it in my thing.
It's a big one. Huge fire hazards from the lint. And it all accumulates in that nice little grill right outside that vent on your house.
Yep.
My girlfriend had hers replaced 2 years ago, and she couldn't believe how much lint accumulated in that little, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square mesh. So yeah, the
Doesn't
fire
take long.
hazards, it doesn't take long. If you're running a wood stove in a chimney, now's the time to clean out that chimney, right?
Yep.
Yeah. When you can have
my dad would get me up on the roof twice a year. Once about Christmas time, he'd run the stove for maybe a month and a half. Pick a nice warm day, watch the weather, pick a nice warm day that you don't need to start the wood fire in the morning. And by lunch, it's all cooled and cold, and get up there and scrape her out, the brush up and down 4 or 5 times. Take apart 2 pipes inside just because of the way the stove pipe ran in the house. To get to the chimney, there were a couple of corners, a couple of straight runs. Take everything apart, take it outside, run the brush through it, put it all back together. And then about this time, when he knew he had closed it down for the year, we'd get up there and do like 2 hours kind of cleaning. Make sure that it's nice and clean. Nothing's in that.
Nice.
Yep. I mean, I do the exact same thing with mine. I don't leave it until the fall and say, I'm going to clean it in the fall, because you know what? Guaranteed it's going to get cold. You're going to go, oh, it's okay. I didn't clean it, but it's all right. I'll just light it for this one fire. And, I've got lots of friends who are on the fire department and that is when the vast majority of chimney fires happen, is in the fall, when they're doing the first. They don't look at it. They don't know. They don't see maybe an animal's built a nest in there, or they haven't cleaned it out. They light that first fire up and it's gone.
Yep. Dave in the live chat there, Dave Sherwood, I bought one of those drill attachments, thinking that I could use it on my dryer vent piping. My house is too old. The way they have it set up, it's a prefabbed home. So the way they have it set up, it's a very small entrance into the dryer vent. Once it goes into the wall, goes into a box that you cannot fit those around. But yeah, they are fantastic. My sister has one at her place, and she's got the rigid piping for it to go through out to the wall.
Yep.
Loves it. Brother-in-law uses it 2-3 times a year. Fantastic. And the amount of lint that comes out, like you said, you'd be surprised at how much lint gets caught up inside of there so fast. Yeah, he likes it. He really likes it.
And if anybody doubts the flammability of lint, you should all know it's a great fire starter.
Oh, absolutely. I found a perfect recipe online years ago: an egg carton, some sawdust, candle wax, and lint.
Oh yeah,
Dryer
that'll
lint.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melt your wax, pour a little bit into the bottom of the egg carton, put some sawdust, put some lint, put some more wax, stir it all up with your hand, like your fingers. Make sure you got to do it fast because it's really freaking hot. And then pour some more, put a little stick or a little piece of wick inside of there. Let it cool. You got 12 good fire starters. They are fantastic and they light up hot.
Lovely. So now you've all got a use for that dryer lint you're all wondering what to do with.
Ziploc bag, big freezer Ziploc bag next to the dryer. Once it's full, take it away. Make your fire starter. Put those back in individual Ziploc bags. Put them in your car kit for next winter, like Jeff said, to take yours out for this summer. Put it in there for next winter. Take one up to the cabin, like Gunny here. Put one in the camper, like I have outside. So you got a good fire starter for the season. You're good to go.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Now you know what to do with all that belly button lint too. I had to throw that one in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else we haven't covered? Any of the people listening on the live chat there want to throw any suggestions in, questions, ideas, thoughts?
I'm wondering if that BC guide that you had there, Gunny, I'm wondering if that's what Ian uses to measure his fire break all the way around his place.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what others are doing for fire prevention and protection.
Well, he had mentioned a while ago that even they even have, depending on the time of year, like they even have like chainsaw bans. After a certain time, you can't run a gas-powered chainsaw for fear of lighting something on fire.
Speaking of chainsaws, about preps, it's related. The other day, I recently bought a battery-powered chainsaw.
Yep.
And I was ready to bring it back to the store within a couple of hours because I was ready to decide that it was terrible. I hadn't even tried it yet, but I was already ready to decide that it was terrible because it had to be, because it was battery-powered. Wrong. When that storm hit last week, I hadn't even had a chance yet to use that little chainsaw for myself. But my girlfriend's tree sustained damage, the tree down the road to sustain some damage. And I was just helping out with this little thing because I was sitting in the back of my truck doing nothing. You know what, folks? If you can spare the money for one, it's way cheaper than a motor chainsaw. And a lot of the times it will get you out of that jam with that silly little battery powered thing. And you won't need to invest in a gasoline powered chainsaw. So part of the preps that I'm going to include with that now is to always have that little saw with me, whether in the truck or in the ATV. Little sidebar there. We're a little off the spring preps topic, but
no,
I'd say that's a
right.
good thing. I had put in my stuff to get your lawn tractor, your lawnmower, your weeder out. I did not put chainsaw down in there.
Well,
get it running, get it tuned up for when you need it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's funny that you say that, Brad. Guess what? You don't have to do with an electric one.
Tune up.
You don't have to do a tune-up. You don't have to worry about
mix the oil,
going bad gas and all that stuff. And I'm
true.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of all this electrical stuff either, but it's funny that you said that, Gunny, because our snowmobile club went out back in the fall and bought, I believe it was DeWalt. I'm not pushing the company. I'm not pushing but they bought a kit, and it had like your impact driver, a
skill saw,
Sawzall, whole bunch of other things that all ran off of this one battery. and they had an electric chainsaw that same thing. It runs off the same battery. So it's all the same battery for all of these different. So you're not lugging around, 5 different or 6 different types of batteries and, well, which one's going to work, which one won't. It's just, yeah.
I have the Ryobi 18 volt plus stuff here. I've had it for years. My dad bought a set years and years ago, and I bought a set as well. And now all of our batteries and tools and whatnot can interchange between everything. It got so bad that I put my name on the bottom of half of my batteries. And then he sold his business. But so I have all my own stuff. But Ryobi makes a 18 volt chainsaw. I think they make 3 of them. My wife had already told me, yeah, if you get the medium one, I'm okay with that. Because yes, you can bring it inside the house. We can travel with it inside the car all the time. There's no smell. There's no fumes. There's no danger of explosion. You don't have to worry about mixing a gas. All you got to worry about is the chain oil.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Very, very much worth it. Up until this year, I had poo-pooed anything electric and chainsaw, and I have to walk back all those comments now because I am now a super fan. Because I can tell you that holding that little electric chainsaw for 2 hours of cutting, I used 2 batteries, 2 4-amp-hour batteries. That's all for about 2 hours worth of cutting. I cut down her tree, her cut off destroyed branches, and then I cut down a huge branch just down the road off a tree that collapsed into a fence. I did all that on 2 battery charges. And here's the thing. I did not have vibrating hands after that hour and a half to 2 hours of chainsawing. And everybody knows on a regular chainsaw, no matter what the quality is, if you chainsaw for a couple of hours, you're going to have that lift in your hands, right? Yeah, no smell, no fuel spills, no fuel that you're picking up a couple of months later going, what mix is this that I have in the back of the truck? Is this for the ATV? Is this for a chainsaw? Now you're opening to see the color of the gas. No more of that.
Is it good? Did I add stabilizer to this? Do I have to go buy more? No.
Or exactly like Denny says, you find it in your truck and you're like, how long's that been there that I forgot about?
Yeah. Now all you have is expensive fire starter.
Right? Add it to the lint.
Yeah, exactly. So all of that is now much improved. So while I used to poo-poo these, I have to tell everybody, if you even have to do a little bit of trimming and clean up in your yard, do yourself a favor, pick one up. You'll probably 90% of the time you'll leave that gas chainsaw behind you because that little one can probably do the job. And it saves your back and your sense of smell and your pocketbook because you just charge the battery when you're done. Anyway, I'm renting now, so I'll stop myself.
Melissa's got a good one there in the chat. Looking through your sheds and any outbuildings and whatnot for critters that may have moved in over the winter.
Yeah, they're not paying rent.
No, kick them out. Out you go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to Melissa's point, I'm going to be doing this in any structure that I build from here on in. When you visit it in the springtime, look for light. If you see light coming through anywhere, you got work to do. The little red squirrels are particularly bad. I find they'll chew through just about anything. Up at my place, it's the little red squirrels that get into everything, not so much the mice. The mice will do a number here and there, but it's those little red squirrels. There you have it.
Yeah. I can definitely agree with that one. What's this one?
So Dave says another spring prep is to spray your fencing to determine the wood bees. Also hanging a tan plastic bag to stimulate a wasp nest. I'm not sure what he's getting at with that.
I think
the wood bees, like is he meaning do you have that bees have taken a home in the wood?
So there's a kind of bee called wood bees, and they'll drill their way into a tree and they'll nest into that tree. I think he's talking about those. And when I'm looking at his note there, it's also hang a tan plastic bag. That might have been auto wrong there. That might have been the
No,
auto
I have a
wrong.
feeling
It's
he's right on that one. You can go to the hardware
is it-
store and buy the fake wasp nests.
yeah.
So he's prepper, do it yourself one. Tan plastic bag.
Oh,
Fill it with
okay.
other bags to simulate the wasp nest and hang it somewhere.
Gotcha.
The
Yeah.
wasps see
Yeah.
that, they won't come around because somebody has already taken up residence. They'll move on elsewhere, where it's just a plastic bag hanging there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Dave.
And
Yeah.
and there are also bees, and I found this out the hard way many years ago, that build their nests in the ground. They burrow in, and
Yeah.
they so
Ground bees.
it's a bit of a funny story, but I used to live on a farm, and we had quite a large field that was just we didn't have anything in it. So I'm out there with the tractor doing with the brush cutter on the back, just mowing it down. And all of a sudden there's like bees everywhere. So I didn't even shut the machine off. It's in neutral, and I just ran, and I did get stung a couple times. But anyways, I had run over one of those nests, and there were so many bees. You know, you see the comic strips sometimes in that where they show a bunch of bees and it's like a black cloud. Don't kid
Yes.
yourself. That's exactly what it was. Surrounding that tractor was a black cloud of bees, and we couldn't get near that tractor for 2 days.
Wow.
I definitely will agree with that, and I've seen that before. My parents have well, their old business was an agritourism business, and they let one of the local beekeepers, come and put his hives on there, and then sold his honey at their store. And there were a couple of times he came back really fast and warned us. So he had mistakenly knocked over a tall stack of Masters honey hives, and nobody in the field. Call everybody out of the field right now. Get everybody out of here. In worry that those bees would attack anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody at all. And we went into the field. Everybody. My dad used to. We had a agritourism business, so we have chemicals where we spray the plants and the trees and everything. And my dad had spray suits. There's 3M Tyvek spray suits. They're all white. We all got into thick clothing, zipped up one of those white suits, and went out into the field to make sure we could get everybody else, all the customers, out of the field. So everybody was safe. But that's why a beekeeper wears white, is they don't like dark colors. You'll never see a beekeeper wear anything but white. Keeps them calm.
And Melissa makes a point here too. She says, put out a bird's nest for your, now she says livestock. I'm assuming she means the birds. Small birds grouped together to protect their young and their homes. Yeah. So I don't have a nest around, or a bird house around my house, but there's 2 places that every year the birds nest, and I just leave them alone. I let them, they build a nest. One of my downspouts comes down and does the S bend, and they build a nest right on top of that downspout, right at the corner of the house. Doesn't bother me. They don't do any damage. I just let them do their thing. And, but again, you kind of got to watch where they're going to build the nest. And if where they're going to build the nest isn't the best place, and it's maybe not a great, then knock it down as much as you can. Try to keep them out of there, and then they'll go somewhere else and they'll build their nest.
Interesting. I have a lot to learn about bees, a whole lot. So I'm fascinated by them, but I just feel like there's not enough time in the rest of my life to learn what I've got to learn about them. They're just the most fascinating animal species, but I just don't
And
understand
without them, we don't eat.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I love honey. I take honey every day, especially on pasteurized honey. It's so good for you. But like I said, so much to learn about those bees. I feel like I'm a real ignoramus, that I know too little about them. And yet, if you eat food that is not animal based, so if you like vegetables or fruit, you need to thank the bees, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, let's be kind to our bees, and that includes what you leave around. You know, bees are attracted to colorful things, so they like flowers. But if you leave a lot of toxic stuff around your place in plastic jars and colorful jars, you're going to attract those bees to that stuff too. And case in point, since we're talking about cleanup, I noticed this last year. I do my laundry outside. So I wash my clothes and then I rinse them. And then I got a bucket full of detergent water. Well, one night I forgot to drain the bucket out. And so the bucket was full of water overnight. Do you know how many dead moths I found in there the next morning?
A lot.
Lots. The whole top was covered. I felt bad because they all came for a drink. I mean, they see water, they're going to come for a drink, but that's detergent water. So not good for living things, right? So it's one silly, stupid thing. I left a bucket out overnight and I probably took out a whole bunch of the local moths. Now, some people hate moths and they'd be like, who cares? Well, they're all part of the ecosystem. And if I'm there for the rest of my life doing that, what effect am I going to have on the environment? So, cleanup, the spring cleanup thing, it's a real thing. It's a really big deal. If you think it's just a silly ritual, folks out there, no, it's not. We got all kinds of dust and grime that accumulates in corners and unseen places, and you want to air that out and clean it all out, get it all out, get some fresh air through there, some fresh air movement. So yeah, need to do that all around, I think, and that includes our outdoors as well as the indoors.
Yeah.
So that's
and
I'm
back
itching.
to the comment that Dave made there about the tan bag for the wasps and that. You know what? Yeah, bees, I wouldn't be, that concerned about it. But if you've got wasps or you've got something and you see them flying around and all of a sudden you see them going in between a crevice in a couple of boards in the house or something like that, you need to get in there and you need to get rid of them before they cause a big problem.
Great point, Jeff.
And of course, the other thing with wasps is bees will only sting when they are absolutely like they figure you're about to kill them, and wasps they'll just indiscriminately sting, and then once they do and they give their pheromones and that out, it's a free for all. They just swarm.
Same with the bee. Once the venom sac on the end of it comes out and they die, it releases pheromones as well to tell the others this is a danger. Come and attack this. Keep this away from the queen.
Okay.
They do the same.
So you definitely want to catch those in spring before they start building up and all piling into that nest.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Now is the time. I saw 2 honeybees earlier today, and I stopped doing the cleanup. I didn't want to hurt them. Let them fly away. Let them explore and then fly away. And we kept on cleaning up. Yep. But they're the ones that we want around. So.
Yep. And I know we talk about keeping animals out and stuff like that, but for the very vast most part of those kind of animals, don't kill them. Don't get possums. Like people, yeah, they look ugly, but they eat their body weight in ticks in like 3 or 4 days. And they're really the only animal that I'm aware of that can try and get rid of the ticks. So, just
here's another one on that topic, Jeff. Guinea fowl.
Really?
Guinea fowl will eat ticks like mad. They love them. So they happen to also be really difficult for other predators to go after, because you've maybe seen or heard them. They're noisy little birds, and they're really tough, and they're a bit ornery. So not only do they keep a lot of critters away, like foxes. A fox isn't going to get to touch one of those because they're just ornery. They're aggressive with anything that wants to attack it. But they eat all ticks. They eat worms. They'll just eat it all out of the ground, and they happen to taste really good too.
Good to know.
Yeah, guinea fowl.
Good to know.
Well,
I hate ticks.
Yeah. Also do I. I was pretty sure I had a tick bite a couple of years ago. So
Oh boy.
I tested negative, but I still had the bite mark on my arm and then the
Ah.
big bullseye around it. So
Eesh.
the doctor put me on antibiotics and told me to get tested. And they said I was negative, and I'm like, I don't care. I see what I've got. I've been bit. So, anyways,
Yeah,
and I've known a couple people that have got Lyme disease from tick bites, and it's literally destroyed them. So
yeah, there's no undo button for that. So
No.
this is the time of the year to start thinking about all that. I took my tick key out of my backpack that I usually keep in my backpack, and I put it in my bushcrafting kit just last week because I saw there was no snow left on the ground, and I know they like me, those ticks, and I was just in the woods today. So exactly, the first thing I did is take that tick key, drop it in there, because if they're going to come to me, they're going to come to me first over anybody else. So I may as well be ready for it, right? So yeah, all of those little parasites, they all come out now. Do you have your bug juice ready in your vehicles?
Muscal.
Yep. Anything
Yeah.
else? Any other ideas from the panelists or people in the live chat there? Well, I think we've kind of milked this for all weekend.
I think we might have.
So,
I think it's a good
so
list.
with
I think
that,
it's a good
I
ideas.
will. So let's move on then, Brad, to the podcast challenge.
Well, let's get the kids right now off all the socials. Take their phones away. Grab the internet power cord off the Wi-Fi router and stash it away somewhere. Get everybody outside. Like Jeff said, for your mental health as well as your physical health, whatnot. Get everybody out cleaning up. Like Gunny said there, get the fire break thing out and print that off and give everybody a sheet and run around your house. Well, maybe not run, but go around your house and see what you can't figure out for fire hazards, and look up in the trees carefully, see if there's any branches that might come down over the next windstorm or over the summer, and clean up stuff. Make a game out of it for your younger kids if you can, and maybe if you have to, bribe your older kids to get out there and help, and show the younger kids that they should be doing this, and get some family time going. Why not?
Brilliant.
Right on. So for upcoming events, we've put it out there a few times. The annual Preppers Meet in Desborough, Ontario, July 6th to 9th. If you wanted the early bird tickets, the deadline is, I'm assuming, midnight. They said today was the last day. So if you want to get out, if you want to go, get on there and get your early bird tickets. Annualpreppersmeet.com, and just look for the tickets area there. So for my weather blurb, so it's outside of that ice storm we talked about in Ontario and Quebec there. It's kind of really been a fairly calm couple of weeks throughout most of the country in North America, shall we say. We've had a lot of record warm temperatures, but they will be quickly coming to an end starting next week. I said to Brad before the chat, or I think I may have mentioned it here anyways, that it was in the 20s here today, and it's only going to be +4 on Tuesday. So we're not done yet. I am keeping an eye on the next round of potential severe weather for Wednesday, Thursday of next week, in through the Midwest and the southern plains of the U.S., with a chance that on Friday, if the temperature does drop low enough, there could be some substantial snow through the Dakotas. We could we could see some more storms through the Ohio Valley on Friday, but not all of the models are agreeing on that, and it's a week out. So just pay attention. But then after that, it looks like next weekend is going to be another decent weekend. Cool in spots, but no severe weather.
Good. I like to hear that. Yeah. More time spent outdoors is a good time.
So we didn't find any deals of the week. If you find something, plop it in the Discord or let us know. Any shout outs, anybody?
So shout out to Mel for coming over and giving me a hand this weekend with cleaning up a bunch of stuff. And I definitely appreciate the help, girl. Thanks.
Yep.
And giving us all kinds of great suggestions in our
Yeah.
comments tonight. That's just awesome.
You
Did
just
you,
keep throwing
did
them in
you-
there.
Did you give her a bottle of Advil on the way out, Brad?
No, I didn't.
Well, with that, I will bring episode 201 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Podbeam, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Please help us out and submit a review. It helps others find us.
We record these shows live on Facebook and on YouTube. If you want an early peek at the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Canadian Prepper Podcast, and click the notifications tab. Gives you an alert when we're going live. You can contact me at batbradcpp@gmail.com.
And where can we find you, Gunny?
Well, lately I'm findable on YouTube as always, where you can find my channel. I'm also on the Face Crack, and I'm even on the Instagram. So if you think of others that I should be on, but I'm not yet, let me know on those other ones and we'll talk.
All right. Please check out Rapid Survival at rapidsurvival.com. And you can get Eric there on the live chat while you're buying some of his prepper gear. Or you can email me at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca, or I am frequently on the Discord. So thanks everybody for joining us. Until next time, be prepared, stay safe,
And keep learning.